In this demonstration, we'll take a look at failover cluster quorum and witness. Let's start with a cluster that has 5 nodes. As nodes start to go offline, their services are transferred to other working nodes in the cluster. And the rule of thumb is, for the cluster to function, more than half the nodes must be online. So if a third node goes offline, this cluster will stop functioning, and that makes sense. You don't want all these services to roll over to just a handful of nodes. But what if we have an even numbered of nodes, 4 nodes? Once 2 nodes go offline, the cluster would stop working, but we want the cluster to continue, so we designate a witness. A cluster witness is tested and it counts towards the cluster status. So if the witness was online, it would break the tie and this cluster would stay online. Now, that's a pretty simplistic view of witness and quorum, so there's a few other things you should know. First, when you create a cluster, if it has shared storage, then a witness will automatically be designated in that storage, either a disk or file share. Quorum is automatically calculated and managed by the cluster. It knows how many nodes there are and it will do the math for you. Your witness should be representative of the cluster status, so if your witness was offline, then the cluster, in the event of a tie, should also be offline. And you can change the defaults. Let's take a look at how. So here in the Failover Cluster Manager, we have a cluster that has shared storage. And when the cluster was created, a disk witness was designated in that storage. And this disk will have a vote in whether or not the cluster stays online or not. Now you can change that. All you need to do is right-click the cluster, More Actions, Configure Cluster Quorum Settings. And the first page of the wizard reminds you that quorum affects the availability of your cluster. A sufficient number of elements must be online or the cluster loses quorum. So on the second page of the wizard, you can add or change the quorum witness. And currently there are 3 types of witnesses to choose from. There is a disk witness, a file share witness, and new in Windows Server 2016, a cloud witness. And the cloud witness does require an Azure storage account. So I'm going to switch over to the Azure portal where I've created a storage account. It's very easy to do. You can call the account whatever you like. Storage accounts have access keys. These keys are used to authenticate your applications when they make a request to the account, and there are always 2 keys provided so you can switch off and periodically generate new keys. So back in the Quorum Wizard, if I'm choosing a cloud witness, I'll put in my Azure storage account name and one of the security keys. And when I confirm my changes, it'll actually go out and try to connect to the account to make sure everything is okay. A cloud witness is useful when you don't have shared storage or you have clusters in different geographical regions. There's just one other thing that I wanted to show you, and that's in the Failover Cluster Manager. If you select nodes, you can see which nodes are voting and what their current vote is. So in summary, we reviewed quorum and witness scenarios and settings in this demonstration. Your course does have a failover clustering lab, so I hope you'll take a few minutes and give it a try.